I'm going to explain this like it's never been explained before. This is what a lot of people been anticipating. The anticipation of a fraction of the truth out of Christopher Allen Geller's mouth. So, where something originally stems from. You know what? Ever heard the saying where it stems from? Like, where it originated from. But this is only really telling a fraction of this side of the story, this side. So, in other words, at a young age, my parents noticed something about me that really, and a lot of other people were like, what the fuck's wrong with him? What the fuck's he doing? What's he doing? Why is he talking like that? Why is he doing that shit? So it took me a long time to put these words together. So throughout my whole life, people are still wondering where shit that I do and say that they really fucking hate. Why does he talk like that? Why does he do that? So, until you guys understand where them types, that type of lifestyle, them types of lifestyles really originate from, where they stem from, what really happened, what was the source of that stuff that people don't like? What was the source that caused that stuff that people don't like? Where did it stem from? Well, there's a couple different I can explain in a few different ways, but I've learned that over time, it took me a while to, because sometimes when things happen, it takes a long time. I don't think I've completely figured out them lifestyles and them actions and words where they originally came from. But throughout your life you get clues here and ideas here about certain things you do and say. Well, I've learned that the people that were involved, it really didn't they were just participating. You know how sometimes people participate in stuff that they're not. When you're younger and you participate in things that you're not quite sure of what's going on, because you're just not really you're just not really mature enough in the brain to know if you're doing the right or wrong thing. So when I was a kid, I grew up amongst cousins, family members, other kids in my neighborhood. And, sometimes children, when I was a kid, a lot of the kids I grew up with, especially my cousins, their parents really didn't know how to teach them. Like, what do you call that? What do you call them type of parents? What do you call them type of parents that, what do you call them type of parents? Unfit, like an unfit parent, like, no, irresponsible parents. Like, irresponsible parents, they're the type to have kids and not really teach them anything, especially how to do the right things in life. There are such things as irresponsible parents. And some parents that are irresponsible praise their children for doing the wrong stuff. So some children in the past got like rewarded because the parents were irresponsible for bad behavior. You ever notice that some parents, they credit their children for bad behavior? A lot of like responsible parents are like, no, you do not reward any parents should not reward children for bad behavior. Any responsible, like intelligent parent would never reward any of their children for bad behavior. So, but I've realized over time, it's not always the people that are irresponsible and bad behavior, because we all stem from like the ancestry of our families. Like before me, there was my parents. Before my parents, it was their parents. Before their parents, it was their. So, in other words, there's a long ancestry in every family of family members throughout, history. So, you got to think sometimes people refer to it as a generation, a generation. They refer to it as a generational, like hindrance, curse, inconvenience. Like you have a history in your family of bad behavior that stems from family members that came way before the family members now. And you really can't do anything about that inconvenience in your family. But the only thing you can do about it as a son or a daughter or father or mother or anything is you would have to make it right with yourself and get it out instead of carrying on. Don't carry on a tradition in your family that is no good. You can tell the rest of your family, you guys can do anything you want, but I am leaving that alone as it is. I'm going to find other things to do. You don't have to be mad at anybody in your family over a generational hindrance that you don't have to be mad at it. You just got to know yourself that you don't agree with it. You don't agree with anything about it. And you can leave that whole situation and don't even talk about it. So in other words, sometimes you gotta make a statement sooner or later before it's too late. Before it's too late, you gotta speak up, not to anybody but yourself. Then you gotta realize what the generational curse or the generational hindrance is in your life. Would you want to carry on a tradition of something you don't agree with? No. Would you want to disregard it and move on if you disagree with it? Well, sure. So, it's just the fact that sometimes people don't recognize their own irresponsibility and their own bad behavior. And there ain't nothing you can do about that. for them. Or sometimes, if you got to deal with them, there ain't nothing you can do yourself about it. You just got to deal with it. But you don't have to carry on. You don't have to. You can get that out of your life and know that it's there and just disregard it and go find something other to do. And just don't complain about it, and don't complain about your family members, and don't cuss at your family members, and don't call your family members out for things you don't like about them. Be a little bit more respectful. Don't cuss at your family members, and don't keep on calling them out for the next 20 years about things you've been calling them out. It's like this. Stop cussing at them and stop calling them out, and forget about it.